It is until another basketball game. It's the night show here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. Full show tonight. Full shows the rest of the way. Unless the Celtics can stretch this bad boy out. As they trailed the series 2-0 right now to the New York Knicks. Oof. This show here, this time slot, has been very, very pro-Celtics, and I think that we've been right. I think that the team has been the best in the NBA for 2 seasons. Back-to-back 60-win seasons, winning a championship a year ago, keeping the team together. I still think the back-to-back is on. But losing in the fourth quarter and giving up 20-point leads in back-to-back games is something that hasn't been done in 25 years. What we're seeing right now is something that we have yet to see from this group. I at least thought they may have graduated, winning a championship last year. And they still may have graduated. They still may have. But being down 2-0 at the moment, in the way that they have lost, it's unforgivable, and they do deserve the scrutiny. They deserve it. They look like that group back in 2023 that we thought maybe couldn't get over the hump. But there's a lot I want to get into tonight, and the phone number is 617-779-0985. We're on YouTube. What's up, YouTube fam? It was bumping last night, everybody. We did post-game analysis until midnight. Myself, Cerrone, we got Skaz here today. Street Team Joe's helping us out behind the board today as well. So we've covered this. I've just had a day to digest it, and I got some more staggering numbers regarding the loss. If you want me to be pro Celtics on this one, they've been down 2-0 before and have come back. It's happened. This team is yet to lose 3 in a row. Well, they have in the Missoula era, but this is the first time they've been pushed past 5 games. They're underdogs for the series. I'll give you those odds coming up in a little bit. But they were the best road team in the regular season. And let's see if that meant something. So if you want to look at some of the pros there, they're probably still the better team. But there are some things about New York, I think we should give some credit to. The Celtics took care of business, right? In the regular season, winning all 4 matchups. They won all the matchups by double digits. I mean, they hit 39 more threes than the New York Knicks. And that's one of their issues right now, right? I also think New York is more resilient. They are. They've now played 3 straight games where they've won in crunch time, led by Jalen Brunson and their defense. So, in a way, I'll tell you that in the end, the Celtics have beat themselves. But I do want to give some credit to New York. I do think they have the advantage in the coaching matchup. I think they have the advantage when it comes to rebounding. And in the fourth quarter, they've had the advantage. So I do want to give New York some credit, but in the end, this has been a lot about the Celtics beating themselves. A team that played 800 basketball for 2 straight years, including the playoffs, right now is playing at a 400 clip in their last 5 games. I mentioned the only team the last 25 years to blow 2 20-point leads at home and lose. I mean, there's only one team to do that. It's them. It's just the second time where they've went 2 straight games of shooting 25% or below from 3. That's been 500 out of 564 games. They've only shot under 25% twice. And it happens to be these games. I'll get into the substitutions, the coaching matchup. I did want to mention the credit for the New York Knicks about being resilient. They do make every play when it matters. Their defense adjustments won the game. Won them both games. People will talk about the threes. They'll talk about not calling timeouts. They'll talk about all this. The game was lost late in the third quarter. They had a 16-point lead. They struggled in the final minutes of that quarter. Turnovers, multiple, 4, I believe. They settled for threes. It became a 12-point game. They were up 20 to 16 to 12 by just turning the ball over and not knowing what they were doing on the court or letting off the gas. I do want to bring up, for all the criticism that Jason Tatum is getting, people will think I'm a defender. Let me get into him in a minute. Jaylen Brown in that third quarter had 3 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 steals, 0 blocks, 0 free throws. He had 4 turnovers. He played the entire third quarter. Jason and Tatum and Jaylen Brown are from 3-12 in the third quarter when they were up 20 points to the end of the game, shot 1 for 10 from the field and 0 for 4 from downtown. They've scored 33 points in the fourth quarter of both games. They're 9 for 45. They're shooting 15% from 3. Jaylen Brown in those games, 6 points, 1 for 7 from the field, 0 for 2 from downtown. Jason Tatum, same amount of points, 6, 1 for 12, 0 for 2 from downtown. At some point, I want to get into the coaching and the scheme in this one. Running the same play when the Knicks were all over it, scheme, coaching. In the last 2 games, with the last possession of each game, the Celtics were unable to get a shot off. Jaylen in game 1, Jason Tatum in game 2. You want to talk about fourth quarter performers. Most points scored in the fourth quarter this postseason. Number 1, Jalen Brunson, 86. After that, it's a really long way down. Jamal Murray, Aaron Edwards, Kawhi Leonard, Jason Tatum, Nikola Jokic, Cade Cunningham, Mikal Bridges, Donovan Mitchell. Guy's a fourth quarter performer, and they let him right into the game, and they send him to the line easily because the coach thought that was the right philosophy. The Celtics certainly didn't make their shots. Their top performers are not performing in the fourth quarter like the other player on the other team. The Celtics, here's what they're facing. Road teams who take a 2-0 lead are 38-5 throughout NBA history in terms of winning the series. Teams all time dropping the first 2 home games of a 7-game series, they're 4-24 winning the series. When they win game 3, they're 4-9. If they win game 3 and 4, they're 4-3. When they lose game 3, they lose game 4, 0-6. When you lose game 3 and win game 4, 0-5. I'll say it one more time. This was the best road team in the regular season. Now they have to prove that that meant something. There's a lot on the line for the Boston Celtics. What's on the line is a repeat. What's on the line is this group staying together. What's on the line? You lose, it's an upset to the New York Knicks. You lose, this thing is over. Ownership will absolutely blow this thing up. New ownership will blow this thing up. The odds are certainly against the Celtics at this point. My take, I think the pressure is now on the New York Knicks. We'll leave it there at 617-779-0985. Full show tonight. We're going to talk to Mike Timlin, World Series champion, four-time World Series champion. Do a little baseball with him. We got a in or out. We got the Musings, Street Team Joe's here. Some food items I want to go run by him as well. And certainly want to give our opinions on the Celtics and what they can do in Game 3 and some of the adjustments. We're here until 11 o'clock tonight. I'm Joe Murray, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
At Planet Fitness, this is the year of getting stronger. So let's do this. Join the club today and save. Just $1 down, $15 a month.
Find your nearest club and join today. Deal ends Friday, May 16th.
See Home Club for details.
For the best deal on tires, head to Town Fair Tire. We beat every competitor every day on every tire. Tire dealers, we beat them. Clubs, we beat them. Online prices, we beat them. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody.
Town Fair Tire.
At High Efficiency Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, we deliver superior comfort and energy efficiency for your home. As a Mitsubishi Electric Heating and Air Conditioning Elite Diamond dealer, you can trust our expertise to provide customized solutions that meet your specific
pace pick up. I'm watching Mikal Bridges and Deuce McBride. They getting out in the open floor. They getting wide open threes before the Celtics are able to get their defense set. I'm watching Tom Thibodeau say, okay, Joe Mazzulla, you want to go to a Hacker Mitchell? I'm still going to leave him out there on the floor with Karl Anthony Towns. And I'm gonna outcoach you because I'm gonna allow you to keep hacking Mitchell until we get into the bonus early in the fourth quarter, and then I'm gonna sub him out. He's out coaching him right now.
Not on the boat, the duck boat. Not allowed on the duck boat. He's not wrong though. Not wrong whatsoever. Or like you guys can have fun with that. In the last two games, the Celtics deserve all the crap. They deserve it all. They have choked. They've choked. Now, if I really wanted to I don't consider myself a green teamer, but if I really wanted the green team, I would tell you that they've lost both games by 4 points. And if they just hit their shots, we're not even talking about this. But I'm not. We got a show to do, right? We got one to do. So, Skaz, I would just like to let you know that my mentions in the emails that I am getting are, I thought they tapped Joe. Where's your Mr. Clutch stats now, Joe? Where's Skaz with his stats? So I just want you to know that I want the smoke. You want to bring the smoke? I got the smoke. They've blown 2 20-point leads at home against the New York Knicks. Like, they deserve to be crushed for that. I would just like to say that I'm personally offended by the Celtics because, you know what? They used to go up 20, and they used to tap, and I wanted to light a victory cigar. But I'm crediting the New York Knicks for being resilient. I'm doing that. I still don't think it's over, but oh my God, the mentions, Skaz. This is another one I just got. How's your clutch player Tatum doing being outplayed? You were wrong last year. You were wrong the last 2 years. You took a run last year that was soft. Well, Skaz, they won, right? So I'm going to take the W. But the tap out thing, after 2 games, I'll take the L on that one. How about that?
Yeah, Joe, I'm with you. The Celtics deserve all the criticism in the world for their performance in the first 2 games. That still, doesn't mean they're going to lose the series. I'm still not a believer in the New York Knicks as title contenders. I think the Celtics played absolutely awful in these 2 games, and the Knicks squeaked out 2 wins. I'd say that's just watching the games. If that makes me a green teamer, so be it. If we're green teamers, Joe, for our takes tonight, I'd like to say that 2-6. I heard a lot of the Celtics are still going to win this series. The Knicks are frauds, and I kind of echo that same sentiment. I think the Vegas still thinks the Celtics are going to win this series. It seems like it was 2 awful, horrible games, but I by no means think the season or the series is over. This was about as bad as the Celtics could play. Let's see what happens. I think the Celtics are a veteran playoff team that has been in numerous situations similar to this. They seem to only get credit for the losses, not the wins, which is kind of odd to me. And you mentioned the leads. We had a lot of blown lead talk last night. I saw Grandy tweet this out. This is not being a green teamer. This is
stats and facts.
Just a fact. Before, the last 2 years, so this iteration of the Celtics, not the Marcus Smart, Grant Williams Celtics, which is a completely different team, which I don't know if people realize that either. It's not the same basketball team it was 2 to 3 years ago. We're 43-1.
Celtics are 40.
The Celtics were 43-1 when leading by 16 points before this series.
Yeah, so that old iteration.
Yeah, they're not included.
They're not included in this.
No.
Which the teams that would give up the leads.
Those were the teams that would give up the leads. So those were 2 colossal chokes.
And I just mentioned the 2 losses that they have are the lowest 3-point percentages they've had in 564 games together.
They sucked. There's no other way around it. Jason Tatum has been bad. Joe Mazzulla has been maybe worse. Jaylen Brown has not been good. Derek White has not been good. Peyton Pritchard has not been good. The only two guys in the series that have been, remotely good for the Celtics, I would say, are Drew Holiday and Cornette. Yes, I'm with you, Joe. Yeah, they're the only two guys.
We did what, 2.5 hours last night of this?
Yes.
I've had time to digest it, though.
Yeah, I've had time to digest it as well, and I got to be honest, they were so bad in these two games that I still think they have a shot. Maybe that's kind of, that line of thinking doesn't track because they've been so bad, but it's tough to think that this talented of a roster. And another thing, too, we talk about the talent of the roster. When the Celtics win, it's because they're the deepest team in the league and they're a super team. When they lose, it's because Jason Tatum isn't clutch and he's a fraud. So I'd like someone to explain that to me at some point.
I also, just so people heard, unless they need to turn their radios up a little bit, I did throw Jaylen Brown's numbers in there too. The guy that's the alpha.
Yes.
The guy that is the guy and not Tatum. They have the same amount of points in the fourth quarter, and they both had the turnovers at the end of the game. So if you say, hey, Tatum shouldn't be the guy at the end of the game, well, Jaylen Brown had it in game one. How'd that work? No one's credited the Knicks.
Yes, the Knicks deserve a lot of credit. Tom Thibodeau deserves credit.
The resiliency, though, to not be again, every team is tapped. I would have thought this team would have tapped to be. I think they wanted to in game one. I believe that. It was the end of that third quarter, Scats, I'm telling you. That third quarter, they were just loafing. And I almost go back. The reason why I'm going to coaching is they started Horford over Porzingis off the bench, right? Then they played Brown the entire third quarter. They went away from Peyton Pritchard. I'm almost curious if they got tired.
Pritchard was not. That's something I saw a lot last night too. Pritchard was 3 for 9.
He
wasn't good either.
Yeah, but 3 for 9 in this series when you're watching the shots the way they're going. In your head, you're probably like, it's not so bad. But I know what you mean. Like I think that not getting him involved was a scheme thing. Like that's a scheme thing. He's a scheme player. But let's go over some of these. The Knicks on a run. What did they go on, a 14-4 run? No timeout.
Yeah, I think if you're going to criticize, there's numerous things to criticize Mazzulla for after last night, but the timeouts, I think, is number one.
So if we're going to be critical of certain timeouts, I would have called one there. I'm glad they called the timeout before the Tatum dunk. Did I think it was like a beautifully schemed out of timeout play? No, but Tatum used his ability.
It was Horford. Horford set a great screen.
There you go. That too. And, it was with authority, I would say. Then, because they're in the foul situation for fouling and getting into the bonus, Brunson goes to the line, hits both. Why keep the timeout there? Why? Run the same play? Where they've adjusted now on it? I can't get over the hack of Mitch. If you can't beat New York with Mitchell, you suck. That was dumb. I do want to credit OG Anunoby. I thought he was all over Tatum early on.
Him and Bridges both were tremendous. The Knicks made moves to match up with the Celtics, moves that we made fun of, moves that the national media has made fun of because of how the Celtics looked against the Knicks in the regular season. Well, now the games really matter, and those moves are paying off for New York.
I think there's no coaching or scheming going on by the Celtics. I think it's process. I don't want to use the word analytics. They have no bigs. They're getting out rebound in the fourth quarter. Last night, Celtics gave up 6 offensive rebounds and 8 second chance points in the fourth quarter. They were 3 for 10 in the paint, 2 for 11 from 3. This was my take last night. Maybe people haven't heard this, but I think Jason Tatum is the only big they have right now. He's playing out of position. His rebounding numbers are very high. He's not an offensive paint player. I think it's hurting him. I think it's killing him. So in the fourth quarter of this series alone, the Celtics have 33 points. They're shooting 9 for 45. Joe Math, that's under 20%. They're 4 of 26 from 3. I did want to bring up the non-Tatum minutes. You guys just laughed at something back there. Is it my math?
Joe's he's having a tough day with all the Celtics takes on Twitter.
Oh. Welcome to the night show, Joe. Non-Tatum minutes. You seen any of these numbers? The non-Tatum minutes are him on the bench. Which I thought were very greeny. Barstool Greeny. Very having a good day. Non-Tatum minutes in the fourth quarter. From 8 minutes and 27 seconds down to 5 minutes and 4 seconds. The Celtics scored 0 points without Jason Tatum. Is that good?
I would say that is not good.
Do you see what I mean by they lost the game in the third quarter? They let go of the rope. But played, again, Jaylen Brown's better than Jason Tatum, right? Who played the entire third quarter? Brown. Tatum ended up with 9 points in the final 5:05. And then the Knicks one closed it out on a 14-4 run. So, I would just like to be consistent on the blame should go to everybody. But through 2 games, the Celtics have missed 75 three-point attempts. They've missed 35 shots in the paint. The numbers aren't good, everybody. They're not good. All right. Anything else you want to add, Skaz, before we let all the people speak? I feel as though I'm still confident in the team. They deserve to be criticized. I think the blame is to go around, but I like to work in fact instead of your bad opinions. Let's talk to Cam. He's in the car. What's up, Cam?
Joe, how you doing, man? So I was at the game last night, and the first thing I did after, besides weeping in the stadium for about 10 minutes, was turn you on, because that's what I listen to every night, the Joe Noah Late Night Show. Let me hold for just a second here, Joe.
Oh, no. No. Nobody calls me to put me on hold. I'm not an elitist. It's just I saw it on a TV show once. Don't call me to put me on hold. Gabe's in West Roxbury. Gabe?
What's up, Joe? What a schmuck. What a schmuck that was. I just wanted to call because the Perkins, when you came back in with Perkins, I think the coaching, I think Thibodeau, he's been around for a while. He implemented the 2008 defense, right? He was part of that. He knows, he's not a chump, and I think he's getting Missoula, the best of Missoula. And he's winning that battle. I mean, of course, the blame, goes around. But yeah, I'm not a full-on green teamer, but I'm a night show guy instead of a 2 to 6 guy. So yeah, they had 2 20-point leads. They still have the best players on the court. I still feel that way. In the bright lights, Tatum can do things. I'm not going to rule it out, but I mean, it's going to be a struggle. And I think they walked into this game thinking, we got this. We beat them 4 in the regular season. Let's drop the threes. Averages will work out. Let's go. And it's just been hard to watch. And Porzingis, I'm a huge Porzingis guy. I've always wanted like a post guy, like Christian Wood, back like 3-4 years ago, who was on the Pistons. I wanted every guy, and I love Porzingis. Something I don't know, like he's called the unicorn for a reason. His body is not meant to like go in certain directions, and he's just a unicorn because when he's out there, he can do so many things. But also, he takes his lumps where just weird things and this weird rest. Does he have mono? Did he make out with a girl and get mono?
No, I don't know, Gabe. I've had mono. It sucks. Lost a lot of weight. They give you these pills, but they're so big you can't swallow. You guys know what I'm talking about. He doesn't have mono. I got something on the unicorn coming up in a bit. Because talk about a guy who lives up to his name, huh? His nickname? Is this the Pam in Boston?
It is, Joe. How you doing?
How you doing? Pam used to call in on our weekend show, myself and Leroy, and here you are at night. How are you?
I am okay, but I am incredibly disappointed, and I just want to say that I am with you. I stand by you. I'll take all the smoke with you because 99% of what you said was correct, but I just want to know if anybody's mentioned the fact that you have Sam freaking Cassell on the bench with you coaching. At any point in time, does Sam say, hey, I've been in this situation. There's 14.7 seconds left on the clock. We have the ball. We can advance it to half court. Let's call timeout.
Pam, myself, and Skaz on the way out last night had this conversation.
It's crazy.
We were wondering about the other guys on the bench, what they were thinking. I mentioned even Jeff Van Gundy, even though he wasn't a part of the bench. He was a part of the staff. I thought about that veteran leadership that's not there this year.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. I still believe, I'm a green teamer all the way, but yeah, I'm taking all the smoke with you. You have a good night, Joe.
Appreciate you, Pam. Thank you. I think I called one night. We were talking about Whitney Houston or Janet Jackson.
It was Joe. I was just about to say. I remember Pam from the Janet Jackson discussion.
Yeah, there was like a Janet Jackson concert, but wasn't there supposed to be a Celtics game? But there was a Janet Jackson concert or something, or
something like that.
Something like that. And I don't know what happened. I started, bringing up Janet Jackson songs, and she goes, "I got to put respect on the name," and it was just she put me in my place. And now she's always welcome. Oh, yeah. Want the smoke? We're here until 11 o'clock tonight. 617-779-0985. More on Missoula. He made a mistake. He admitted the mistake, and he made the mistake before. So he's now made mistakes twice. We'll get into what those are. And Kristaps Porzingis. What's the deal, bro? We'll get into that coming up next on the Sports Hub.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Oh, the Red Sox won today. I didn't see an inning because I took the greatest nap. But you know what? They won 5-0.
maybe the Knicks are the favorites now to win. Who knows? We were expected to win. So for us to be in this hole right now, with our backs against the wall, we have nothing to lose. So we got to go out there and leave it all out on the floor. And again, I think it's a lot of basketball left to play, and let's see where this goes.
The gas versus the ass. I can't wait. That's going to be a good one. So 8:20 today. We'll talk with Mike Timlin. That was Kristaps Porzingis. I don't know. I kind of believe him, bro. I don't know why. Whatever he said right there kind of made me think, huh? I mean, he's been in New York before. He lived there. Kind of takes all the pressure off of us. Now, if you check, the odds are now for them to be the favorite. So did Kristaps Porzingis just admit that there was pressure on the Celtics? Asking for a friend. There's a lot of pressure on the Celtics. I think we know that, right? Highest salary team. 2 All-Stars. Going to repeat. New ownership. Potentially the last time they're together. Like the favorites to win it all this year. Have they felt the pressure? Here's another thing regarding Kristaps Porzingis. I would still, to this day, take Kristaps Porzingis over Marcus Smart. To this day. And in reality, the Celtics still won that trade. I know Porzingis hasn't played a lot of games, and you know what? Either has Marcus Smart, for that matter. Marcus Smart was a part of teams giving up first-round picks to remove him. So, the Porzingis-Marcus Smart trade, win for the Celtics, and I would do it 10 times out of 10 times. But is there anybody who's ever lived up to the unicorn name more than Kristaps Porzingis? This year, at one point, he was the second best player on the Celtics. He went on a run of 20 points or more in a game this year. He was leading the Celtics down the stretch when Jaylen Brown wasn't right. Porzingis has never been reliable. Never. The first time he made it to the playoffs was last year. He gave them the bump they needed. This year, he had the surgery. He started the year late. He really turned it on. He got a sickness towards the end of the season. He started not to look right. The playoffs happened. He hasn't been right. I think it's fair to say that Kristaps Porzingis truly is the unicorn. If he's healthy, if this, if that. Sometimes you watch his play and you can't believe it. And then when you hear he's hurt, can you believe it? No one has lived up to the nickname unicorn more than Kristaps Porzingis. Now, where did he start his career? New York. I'm starting to wonder what they should do here. They need him. Al Horford said they are relying on him. That's a problem. But you're down 2-0. You need a big. He's telling you he's dealing with something that's giving him pain on the inside of his body. I credit him for being out there. But the fact we ever relied on him, that's on us. Again, one more time to double down on it. I would do the Marcus Smart for Porzingis trade 10 times out of 10 times. Right now, they need him, and they can't rely on him. I almost wonder if he should even play tomorrow. The travel to New York. But it's that building, right? It's him and that experience he has playing in New York. It's him saying after the game, the pressure's off of us. I'd like to see him back out there. The Celtics have been a great team with or without Kristaps Porzingis. But the fact is, and Skaz, we work in facts, they've been more successful without Kristaps Porzingis in the lineup. Regular season and postseason. With Kristaps Porzingis, they're 83-30. Without him, they're 81-18. That's including regular season and postseason in last night's game. They have an 818 win percentage without him, 735 with him. I don't think they can win this series without him. At the same time, I don't think they can rely on him. 617-779-0985. Let's talk to our buddy Justin. He's in Lynn, and my phone is frozen. Skaz, if you want to pull it. What's up, Justin?
Hey, Joe. I wanted to talk to you for a second. I am very disappointed in the Boston Celtics. And I want to tell you something, Joe. To me, throw out the numbers for a second, because you look at how they played down the stretch, and it's not just the shooting they've struggled with defensively in the fourth quarter. They've struggled. The turnovers in the third, that has been the biggest issue for me. And, to me, Kristaps Porzingis is wrong, because the pressure is on them to win 2 games in New York, and they come back here and win game 5. And I think they can do it, but I just feel like, saying the pressure's not on them is a very wrong statement to make, Joe. I think it is.
I know, and it makes me wonder if that's what was going on. Have they put the pressure on themselves? Here's a good one. Josh is in Oxford. Hey, Josh.
Hey, Joe. How you doing?
Good.
So my mother-in-law heard I was coming on with you, and she said,
"Oh boy,
I got to ask, did you ever go to?"
That was me, Skaz. I pulled the trigger. on that one.
Yeah, usually you let those go a couple minutes,
It's
Joe.
fine, right? Matt McCarthy. He goes, "No, Joe, you're supposed to control the callers." No, I think it's better when I let the callers control it.
You didn't want to see where that one was going?
That one, I was scared.
You didn't want to hear what his mother-in-law had to say?
I did not want to hear what she had to say. I'm sorry, miss. Sorry, that gave me a belly laugh. No, that's one of the great parts about this show. Now, Jeremy was very against it, but you have to admit, kind of letting to see where they go a little bit. Sometimes we do get that story we may not get if they didn't feel comfortable talking.
There's a fine line we walk, Joe. It's a battle sometimes back here for me, but I let them go. It is your discretion with the callers, and I will say most of the time it's worth it. There are a couple times where we probably should have bailed earlier,
yes.
but
like the guy the other night who said he had to poop in a barrel the other
that
night.
one was worth it. Yes, we will take calls like that. Yes.
Oh wow. Yeah, let's go to a Knicks fan. Why not? Knicks in New York. Hey, New York. Nick, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on?
Yeah, we're just doing a show.
My name's actually Nick, visiting from New York. I was at the game last night, and I was actually just at the Red Sox game with the Fenway. Beautiful place, first time there. I'm as surprised as anybody, to be honest with you. I really thought the Knicks were going to get housed, and I was just talking to my buddy. I thought they were going to lose in 4, so I really don't know what's going on. I'm more surprised than you.
Yeah, they think they're still going to blow it?
Probably. I mean, because I'm a Jets fan, I'm a Knicks fan. I mean, this is what I'm used to. So, probably.
Does Thibodeau get fired?
It'd be really cool if they didn't.
Does Thibodeau get fired if they lose the series?
I would think. I mean, they've kind of been doing the same thing for a few years. I would think we're going to probably end up with a Booker or Giannis in the offseason, but like I said, I'm more surprised than you.
Okay.
A tremendous call from a Knicks fan, because very level-headed, I'll give him that, about the actual basketball, but then he says, yeah, Tibbs might get fired, but we're going to get Giannis or Booker in the offseason, so What a world.
Well, talk about looking ahead, huh?
Yeah, I guess so.
Jeez.
That's the life of a Knicks fan, though, Joe. The offseason's their favorite part.
All right, I promise you all, next segment, we'll get all your calls. We're going to talk to Mike Timlin, former Red Sox pitcher, four-time World Series champion. We'll talk to him at 8:20. We'll take a quick break. I'm Joe Murray. Again, this hour of the Sports Hub is brought to you by Valvoline Innocent Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com to save 15% off your next draft through oil change at Valvoline Innocent Oil Change, the official oil change of busy people. I'm Joe Murray, and I'm a unicorn.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
2024 a fluke? I don't think so. But it was asked today by Gary Washburn of the Boston Globe. You see this one, guys?
What are we doing? Championships are now fluky. That's really where we're at. You fall down 0-2 in a series, and it discredits an entire year of basketball. What are we doing?
I'm sure if he was listening, I should be fair and say, because he doesn't make the headlines.
No, of course.
Doesn't this feel like the 23 Celtics all over again, is what his title was. Talked about the 20-point leads. They led by 16 with 8 minutes, 9 minutes with 5 minutes. Mazzulla simply watched his team implode and then added that ridiculous Hack-a-Mitchell Robinson strategy that did nothing but put the Knicks in a bonus. You guessed it, 2 free throws from Brunson. He scored the last 6 points, stepping up to the moment when the moment required greatness. Mazzulla pointed to Robinson's plus 21 clip when the Hack strategy was called, but it was desperate and uncalled for. If the Celtics can't beat the Knicks with Robinson on the floor, they don't deserve to repeat. I think I said that earlier. It was an insane amount of respect for a player whose team just went 10 for 7 of the game when he played this season. We're not talking about 1966 Wilt Chamberlain here. Ooh. Mazzulla and Washburn got a thing, huh? They got a thing. The Celtics, meanwhile, appeared to be afraid to attack the rim. 5 free throw attempts in the second half. They settled with little guidance from their leader on the bench. Mazzulla was calm, reflective, trying to make sense of his team's implosion, but also offered encouragement because the series is not over. He thinks that the Knicks made every play. When asked how he responds when the national narrative will call the Celtics a fraudulent defending champion, you just take it and figure out where you have to be better. There's a calmness and a confidence. The shooting were very mysterious. Their woes are mysterious. The question has to be asked, how did the Celtics get here? How come a defending champion's lack of guile is being exposed? Weren't they supposed to be over this insecurity and ineptitude? We'll find out Saturday if this is a bad phase or a permanent condition. Gary Washburn, Boston Globe. Your thoughts, 617-779-0985. Cam is in the car. Cam.
Hey, how you doing? I'm sorry, Joe, about earlier. You on hold. I'm sorry. I just lost you with the bad connection. I just want to tell you really quickly. I was at the game, Joe. I've been to 1,000 Celtics games in my lifetime, and I have never been so embarrassed to leave the stadium. Now, I'm not a green teamer. I say it for what it is. Jason Tatum overall is still an elite player. These people are losing their friggin' minds. But, Joe, where the hell does Jason Tatum get off wanting to say that he's one of the best players in the NBA when the guy is honestly looking like he's crapping his pants against the Warriors again in the finals? I mean, this guy has absolutely no problem coming up to a game playing like complete and total dog, if you know what I'm saying. He can't do anything right.
Let's talk this out for a second. Jason Tatum's all NBA, right?
100% agree.
So what would that make him?
He's still an elite player.
Top 5.
1,000%.
Top 5, right?
But what? 1,000%.
Just top 5? It's top 5, right?
Yeah, I actually have Jason Tatum as a top 5 player in the NBA.
Okay. He's played he realistically, he's played 2 bad games in the playoffs.
Correct.
And
100%.
He missed one of them.
Correct. Fine. Very fair.
And then he had 3 30-point games.
Agreed. Against the Orlando Magic.
But it doesn't matter who's against. It happened, right? Here's the deal. You haven't mentioned a word about Jaylen Brown's third quarter. You know that? The alpha.
I was actually just going to get into that.
Oh, you want? You know what? Unfortunately, I don't think we have enough time, sir. I think he should have led with that. All these Tatum takes are pissing me off. I thought Jaylen Brown was the best player on the team. I thought Jaylen Brown was the alpha. I thought Jaylen Brown's the reason why they won. What's Jaylen Brown doing now? What's he doing?
Can I give you another little nitpick since we're doing it?
Sure.
Do you like Drew Holiday and Derek White's defense down the stretch?
What defense?
How about that foul on Brunson to give him 2 free throws late? Imagine if Marcus Smart makes that foul. That would be the lead story today. But because it's Drew Holiday, I haven't heard it mentioned once. So when they win, it's because they're a super team and Tatum has the best supporting cast in NBA history. When they lose, it's because Tatum's a bum. No one else on the team matters.
And Brown led the way.
I'm just trying to understand, Joe. That's all.
Jason Tatum has been brutal.
He's been awful.
He's been brutal.
The team has been awful. Joe Mazzulla has been awful. What's up? Just trying to, be objective, Joe.
But like the guy asked, who does he think he is? Well, I don't know.
A top 5 player in the league. You see Anthony Edwards go 0 for 19 from 3 over his last 2 games. It happens. It sucks it's happening now. I'm sure Jason Tatum more than anyone is frustrated that it's happening now. The whole team is in a slump.
The only thing that's different about this team is they've lost both games at home and giving up 20-point leads.
They choked.
Yep. But all the teams that are home teams have lost.
Well, OKC won last night. Pretty convincing fashion.
That was a smoke show. I actually thought that's what the Celtics were going to do last night, to be honest with you. We got Justin in Boston. Justin.
Joe, love the show. I wanted to speak on the Celtics' predictability on offense and maybe the fact that we have to depend on Kristaps Porzingis, who apparently has the plague. But I'm starting to feel like Joe Namath when he was doing that interview with Susie Colbert on Monday Night Football. As much as I want to talk about the Celtics, I'd rather hear you talk about the Orsies. That place is heaven on earth.
Yes, I got lunch today. In Peabody. So I must have been identified if someone's calling. Actually, I did tweet it out.
You identified yourself, Joe.
Well, you know what happened is they asked me for my phone number. And I think I yelled and then some guy goes, "Oh, I know it." So shout out to Sam Diorsi who took care of me. I bought a sub, took a lunch. I bought a sub for lunch, didn't eat it, Skaz. Took the greatest nap. And I brought the sub with me for tonight. It didn't make it to the station. Yep. Right in the old car. I don't even know if it made it past the Burlington Mall. It was outstanding, though.
What kind of sub, Joe?
That was a chicken parm today.
You're eating a chicken parm on the move?
On the move today.
That's tough to condone, Joe.
Not on my shirt. You believe that?
Yeah, you're clean.
I was thinking about a pastrami sandwich with Swiss, but, Anyways, shout out Dior Season Peabody. Very good over there.
Playing a dangerous game, Joe.
Did somebody call in asking about... I saw something on there about a sandwich.
I think someone might have called, but I don't know if they hung on.
All right.
Sandwich calls 9 o'clock, 9 to 10 o'clock.
Yeah, we'll do that after 9 o'clock tonight. All right. Well, the Celtics are down 2-0. I'm sure we'll have all night long to talk about it here on the Sports Hub. We will talk a little bases, though, next.
I was going to say, how about Rafael Devers, Joe? Good day for him.
Back in the day when I would hit home runs and then they would ask me to do something, I'd be like, no, I'm the guy that just won the game today. And now you're asking me to do more work? That's what it sounded like to me. Actually, we get 2 minutes here?
Yeah.
Okay. I got to give Maz props on this one. He's held this one under his hat, and then he gave it out today because I've been waiting to chomp on it since he's talked about it. It was Craig Breslow that went to Devers, not Alex Cora. Why do you think, Skaz?
Because Alex Cora is useless?
I think Alex Cora agrees.
That he's useless?
That he agrees with Devers. Think about it. Hey, man, you were our third baseman, but, you're not going to play third. He didn't want to do that. So then
then what is Alex Cora's job?
So then he made him a DH.
If he's not going to manage the players, what is he doing?
Well, maybe managing the player is not saying something.
Terrific, then. I'm happy, then.
It's happened at a lot of workplaces.
Say nothing. That usually pans out well.
Skaz, I will tell you this, though. This is Boston sports, and we have every right to feel that way. I'm not going to dismiss your feelings. But in the workplace, sometimes it's better not to say anything, right? Let someone else, let the message come from somebody else.
Yeah, if he doesn't want to be the bad guy, I suppose.
I don't think Cora wants to lose Devers. So, yeah, to your
Seems
point.
like that ship might have sailed,
what's
Joe.
he doing here,
yeah.
right? The quotes are, they sound like they're fake.
I would say not good.
But I was originally going to say that the Devers situation's a little
smelly?
Smelly. It's smelly. This situation is smelly. But you know what he wants him to do? Go to the market. Alex, literally, Rafael Devers has been asking ownership and management to get more players for years. But yet we never get on him about that? Or should we be behind him because the team does need the help? I'm a little torn. That's why it's smelly. Well, we're going to ask a World Series champion what he thinks about that. Gas, not the ass. And it's all for a good cause. So we'll do that coming up next. I'm Joe Murray here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe. You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. You're listening. Sports Hall.
Back-to-back losses by 20 points in a playoff game at home. Not good. Not good whatsoever. We're also talking a little bit of baseball right now, and, well, to paraphrase, a quote from one Rafael Devers today: I don't understand some of the decisions the GM makes. Rafael Devers was asked by the Red Sox and by Red Sox GM Craig Breslow to play first base. And I'm paraphrasing, but he said, essentially, get lost. Of course, I'm paraphrasing there. But there's a lot going on with the Red Sox. And why don't we bring in one of the greats, former Red Sox pitcher, four-time World Series champion, Mike Timlin, joining us here on 98.5 The Sports Hub in Boston. Mike, how are you tonight?
I'm good, Joe. How are you?
I'm great. We're talking a little baseball here. When I mentioned that Mike Timlin was coming on the show, everybody, the comments were, that guy's nails. Hey, that guy could teach these guys a little something about pitching. Everyone had good things to say. Timlin in the eighth, so a lot of people appreciate what you gave. But I do have to ask that right off the top. Your thoughts on the Red Sox, your thoughts on, I guess, analytics in baseball. There's a lot I'm throwing at you right now, but the bullpen pitchers aren't the same as when you came up, my man.
Well, the game has changed a little bit, and it always continues to change. I know the analytics are infiltrated and pretty much embedded in baseball right now. I don't totally understand them. As I understand them, it's everything that I know about pitching and getting things done, but it's quantified into a number, which sometimes you just, and you can talk to many managers, and I'm sure you have, you cannot quantify and you cannot put a number on somebody's heart. And, if someone goes out and pitches with their heart or plays with their heart, you can't put a number on that. And that's what I see that's kind of going away in baseball right now, which is unfortunate. But heck, I don't know. I would like to answer give you a better answer on the team and how they're doing, but I don't get to watch many Red Sox games out here in Colorado.
Yeah, I know you were in the booth. I know for a couple of games in the past with Nesson. Did a solid job for them, and should mention Mike's joining us. Him and his wife are riding the Penn Mass Challenge in memory of their good friends Tim and Stacey Wakefield. Great example of the Red Sox family coming together. We'll certainly get into that, Mike, but. Just getting back to it, one of the great analysis from me here, just a guy on the radio, just spewing whatever I want. One of my big things is throw the gas, not the ass. And what I mean by that is a lot of these relief pitchers now aren't throwing the gas anymore. You were a hard thrower, man. But these guys now with the off-speed stuff, the change-ups, those are what the home runs that are given up. Vlad Guerrero recently with first base open goes deep on a change-up, on an off-speed pitch. Do you feel that middle relievers should be throwing more fastballs than off-speed pitches?
I would have to watch more games and analyze it that way to give you a better answer, Joe. But, guys come in, and if they are not capable of throwing, mid to high 90s, which is almost a requirement anymore to pitch in a Major League bullpen, if you are not able to do so, then you have to learn to pitch. And if you're learning to pitch at that level, you are going to get beat up, and you're going to get beat up really fast. The game moves fast. It adjusts fast, with everybody being able to analyze your pitches and what you're doing. Probably by the end of the time you've ended your inning, they already know, how you're going to attack guys next inning. So things change. You have to be able to adapt and go a different direction. If you can't throw strikes with your fastball, and if you can't throw strikes with your breaking ball, you shouldn't be out there. You should be back in AAA and figuring it out, or AA, or however far down you need to go to figure it out. So middle relievers, need to be able to locate a fastball, but you also need to be able to throw your secondary pitches strikes.
Good friend Tony Maserati, who works here at the station, covered the Red Sox for years, mentioned to me that at one point you might have had the most appearances for a right-handed pitcher. How did you stay ready? What? I mean, you got hit almost a 20-year career. How did you stay ready, and how were you able to have those amount of appearances per season?
Well, I looked at it when I went to the ballpark. Being a relief pitcher, I looked at it like I was an everyday player. That was my mindset going in every day. I looked when I got to the field to play, whether it's in the 7th inning, whether it's the 8th inning, whether it's in the 6th inning, whenever the manager needed me to go in, I would go in. And if you have that mindset going in, you're going to be ready. Unfortunately, some of these guys now, they have pitch counts, and I've run into some relievers in the past 4 or 5 years and talked to them on the field and talked to them in the bullpen, see how they're doing, see how they're feeling. And they're like, well, I can't throw today because I threw yesterday. And I'm like, and I kind of tilt my head and I look at them. I'm like, well, I'm not sure what you're talking about. You're a relief pitcher. You should be ready to go every day unless the manager walks up to you and tells you to take your spikes off and don't go to the bullpen. You need to be out there and be ready. I mean, and that's how I was raised in this game. You be ready every day. And if you're not, then don't show up for work.
4-time World Series champion Mike Timlin joining us here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Mike, I got one more on the Red Sox. I know you're watching from afar. But today, Rafael Devers had a big day. Hit a home run. Red Sox win 5-0. They have a hole at first base. Craig Breslow, one of your former teammates, basically asked him today, would you move to first base or pick up a glove? He essentially said, hey, you've already done this to me. I'm comfortable where I'm at. How did it work for you in your career when, let's say, you were the closer, but we're going to move you now to the 8th inning? Where does that directive come from, and do you think that should have come from the manager?
No. I mean, from the general manager is more than fine where it came from, because the manager usually does with the general manager, and they sit in the office and they have a meeting almost every day, as far as I know, and they did when I was coming up, because they want to know who's hurt, who's able to play, and then make the lineup and go from there. He has to be able to make, the GM has to be able to make, decisions above the field, to move personnel around. I think Craig is doing the right thing to have Devers at first base. I understand that he doesn't want to go to first base, but you have to think when you're moving a position, especially at this level, what's the benefit of the team? It's not about me. It's never been about one person, because not one guy who's ever put that Red Sox uniform on has ever been the greatest ball player to ever live. No one. And you cannot do it by yourself. There's 8 other guys out there. So you have to be able to play for your teammates and play for your team and make it a better team if you move to first base, or if he stays at third base and they move Bregman to second, and I don't know, however it all comes out. But that's the mindset that I think this team needs to adopt, and a lot of other teams need to adopt that also. People got to stop playing for themselves, and they got to start playing for each other. I mean, otherwise there is no team.
You think Alex Cora, your former teammates, the right guy to get that message out to the teammates?
I think he could probably do it. It would be a harsh reality for a lot of these guys if, Alex came in and said, you know what, let's sit down, we're going to have a meeting, and laid it out. But unfortunately, I think some of these guys now have more say, or, more influence, I guess, outside the field, which is unfortunate because, you're just a player. Literally, you're just a piece on a machine. And if that machine's not running correctly, most of the time, the GM or the manager or the owner will step in and go, you know what? You don't fit here. You're out. And we'll find somebody better. You saw it, and you probably saw, when we came up in 2003, when we first got over there, the Red Sox, no one ever wanted to go to the Red Sox because it was always, from what we heard, it was 25 guys and 25 cabs. So no one ever hung out together, and there was no family, there was no brotherhood, there was no team. It was everybody for themselves. And once we got there, we kind of said, let's just start hanging out and see what we can change the culture. And we changed the culture, and we had success. Unfortunately, and I'm not saying these guys don't have a team because I don't know them, but, maybe there's a chink in the armor. If there's a chink in the armor, there's always a way to lose.
I think they're looking ahead down in the minors too much. That's my own opinion. Again, there's these guys coming up, right? Everyone's always looking at, hey, they were coming up when when you came to the Red Sox, the Red Sox were right on the brink, man, right? They were spending money. They were all in. They were chasing the Yankees. It was everything. I don't know if there's a lot of that here now, right? It's always about look at these young guys,
Culture.
Yep.
At that point, they were starting to change the culture because they were tired of being, the redheaded stepchild and getting beat all the time. Finally they said, let's put some effort into it and challenge the Yankees.
Mm-hmm. I can hear you. You're getting excited talking about baseball. I like this, and I know you're running the pan. You're doing the Pan Mass Challenge, man. It's a bike-a-thon. 162 miles, man. And I commend you. You're doing this for the late Tim and Stacy Wakefield. I know you were friends with the family, and it's really just a great example of the family coming together here. But how the hell do you prepare for 162 miles on a bike? You and your wife are doing this. Like, what are you eating? How are you working out for this thing? Like, I'm out, dude. They ask me, I'll just pay the money.
Well, I kind of look at it, mentally to prepare for this. I look at it like, when I was being a reliever, for the Red Sox. I mean, I tried to be a reliable guy and be there every day. And, if I can go through a little bit of pain and, maybe I'll have a saddle sore, maybe I'll have a blister, maybe my knees will hurt, my back will hurt. If I can make it through 162 games, and me going through a little bit of a pain to see if people don't have to go through pain anymore and we can get rid of cancer, that would be great. I mean, and you're right. We're doing this in honor of Tim and Stacy. Tim was an extremely good friend of mine, and he was quite the example of how to be a Red Sox. And I will try to follow his example probably for the rest of my life. And I'll do it the best I can. I will not do it as well as he did because he was absolutely amazing. But him and Stacy, contributed to not only the community where they lived, but there in Boston and, for kids and for cancer. And, it's ironic that, I lose one of the best friends I've ever had to cancer and his wife, all at the same time. And it's devastating. And if we can, raise some money, for doing this Pan Mass Challenge, and I know they raise a lot of money and they could probably raise a lot of money without us, but, we feel like we're doing a little bit here and there and, maybe somebody doesn't have to go through that pain anymore.
And Mike, people can go to pmc.org and donate they can go directly to your charity?
Absolutely. Go straight to pmc.org. And you can, if you're interested in donating to our team, Team 9, you can search, the members there on Team 9. This has been Team 9's a creation, of the Red Sox and, what they've done with Dane the Farber and, the Jimmy Fund. So I think this is just a great thing.
Oh, absolutely, Mike. Yeah, and I love what you're doing for your old teammate, your old friend, and their family, and certainly best wishes to you and your wife. I have one more just baseball question regarding your career. My lifetime, 43. Okay, so I got to watch the Joe Carter home run. I watched the Red Sox, win the World Series in 2004. You've had a lot of great moments in your career. Like those are two of some of the biggest moments in World Series baseball history. Am I missing any along the way? And could you share a little bit about both of those moments?
Well, the save in Toronto, I was a little astonished actually to be back on the team because I had hurt my arm and I had surgery at the end of my first year in 1991, and I finally worked my way back. I had rehabbed and got everything back in my elbow correctly, and at the end of 1992, I ended up getting the save to win the World Series for the Toronto Blue Jays in 1992, and it was the first time it's ever been off American soil as for the Toronto Blue Jays, which was amazing in itself. And I was just a young kid. I was at the right spot at the right time, throwing strikes. The Joe Carter. You watched the Joe Carter home run. Wow. Yeah, for Joe Carter, when Joe Carter hit the home run, I was sitting in the bullpen next to Mark Eichhorn, who was, another reliever. He came from the Angels, and he was with the Blue Jays for a long time. And Joe swung over a slider that Mitch Williams threw the pitch before the home run. And Mark kind of leans over and punches me in the shoulder. And he goes, "Man, if he throws that slider again, he's going deep." And sure enough, the pitch, he threw the same pitch and he hit it. And I looked at Mark, I was like, I can't believe you just said that. Wow. And he literally called that home run. It was pretty cool.
So Eichhorn manifested the Joe Carter walk-off.
Yeah, exactly.
That's absolutely wild.
It was awesome.
And of course, beating the Yankees and winning in 2004, just what was that all like? What was that like for you?
For us to come in and beat the Yankees, of course it had to have rolled that way. Everything just fell into place. We had to face them in the ALCS. It was almost like, that it's like an old Western, it was just destiny that you have to face, your nemesis or whatever. But, when we came in and they in that ALCS and they rolled us for 3 games, and it was just like, wow. And I didn't pitch in the 3rd game, and we just got our tail kicked. We just decided basically just to try to win one. Don't embarrass ourselves, and do something. And we won that one. And then we kind of figured out, heck, we're a pretty good team, and we're one of the last 2 standing. We might as well, try to play like it. And then the next day we won. And as soon as we got to New York and we walked on the field in New York, to tell you the truth, we could feel that the Yankees were nervous about, us being there. When we won the last 2 games in Boston, it was like, this team is good, and we've been trying to beat them, and we beat them for three straight games, and now, I don't think we could stop them. And that's exactly how we felt. We felt like there was no way they were going to stop us. And then once we, won Game 6, it was I don't even think they really wanted to be on the field in Game 7, to tell you the truth. It was crazy. It was amazing.
Hey, man.
And then,
you guys took it right into the World Series, right? Buzzsaw, literally the rest of the way.
Yeah. And St. Louis, they were not ready for what we possessed. And, I grew up playing against Woody Williams. I played with Woody Williams in the Toronto organization. I've known him for so many years, and he was the lead out. He was their pitcher coming in for Game 1, and we just beat the crap out of him. And I felt awful, for him. But I was happy for us, but I felt terrible for my friend. He took a butt kicking, and St. Louis, they just were not ready for the juggernaut that was the Red Sox at that time.
Kiss the ring, baby. That's what I tell all your friends. Kiss the 4 rings that you have. They don't make them like you anymore, man. Of course, when we mentioned you were coming on tonight, and our listeners are excited. Timlin in the 8th, Folk in the 9th. It's just it goes on and on and on. And appreciate everything you're doing for the Pan Mass Challenge and for your good friends, Tim and Stacy Wakefield.
Absolutely. I appreciate having me on and be able to, kind of promote this. We're excited to do this. And I know my wife's done it many times. I mean, that's how I'm actually able to prepare, Joe, because she can, coach me through it. Right. So as long as I'm coachable, I'll be okay.
Yep, we all need that support. And again, all our listeners, go to pmc.org. You can find Team 9 to donate to Mike Timlin and his wife. Mike, appreciate you talking a little bit of baseball with us. I can hear it. You were excited to do it, my man. Don't be afraid to come back to Boston, man. We love you.
Absolutely. We'll be back there in June.
You got it. He's a 4-time World Series champion, Mike Timlin, joining us here on 98.5 The Sports. Best of luck on the race, Mike.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
You got it. Mike Timlin, everybody, joining us here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Love the gas, not the ass talk. That's what it was all about. And I'm glad to know that the Joe Carter home run was manifested, which I love. So we might replay some of that. Of course, there's a lot of stuff going on right now with Rafael Devers. And I did like the answer he gave about where the message came from. General manager, coach. He gave a pretty good answer on that one. We'll replay that throughout the night. Let's get a quick look at the Sports Hub headlines, and we'll do more here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
All right, Red Sox 5-0 winners today. Rafael Devers. he said, and again, maybe I have to listen to it to I'm paraphrasing a lot of this, okay, everybody? But I asked him about Devers, because he was a starter at one point. They moved him to a closer. He mentioned he got the save in the World Series, but he eventually became a middle reliever. And I asked him, hey, in your situation, did that come from the GM or the manager? And he basically said, no. So in a way, this is probably the way that athletes respond. General manager goes to them instead of, and who's the general manager generally work with? Their agent, right? So, I mean, maybe there is a little bit of that.
Yeah, that answer, I don't want to say it caught me off guard, but I thought that was insightful, really insightful.
Insight. We don't know, right?
Yeah, because I was giving Alex Cora some crap in the segment before that, and Timlin said, no, that's kind of how it works.
Understand that it's pitcher and, but it's
player.
Still the same message, right?
Maybe a little different because I think the contract between a pitcher is vastly different than, for a first baseman versus a third baseman. When you're a starting pitcher versus a relief pitcher, there's a massive contract difference there. So I think maybe that's why it wouldn't be as unusual for him to have to talk to the general manager. But I thought that was really insightful that he was like, no, it's not that unusual.
There you go. I thought I enjoyed that. That was what was the other one that
play for the team and not yourself was something that he seemed to emphasize and really believe in.
Something about middle relief pitchers or pitchers in general. You can't find heart. You can't scout heart. You can't. He mentioned his culture when he came to Boston was about 25 cabs, 25 guys. That was true.
I remember those stories. I was a little young, but I remember hearing 25 cabs.
Always true. And I'm trying to think of what else that was. I asked him about Alex Cora. Is he the guy that could deliver the message? And again, I'm paraphrasing Skaz, but I think so, is what he said. I think so.
A little paraphrasing.
He wasn't like, absolutely. He wasn't, he didn't assure me that it's going to happen. How about that? Cora is an interesting case here, man. It's no different than, and I am crossing sports, but Missoula's following a process. Isn't Cora? If you're not managing the egos and personalities, what are you doing? Just filling out a lineup card every day? Like, who's the one that's saying, hey, you're gonna play these days and we're gonna give you this day off? Like, is that the manager? What does the manager do anymore? But when it comes to the case of Devers, it should have come from the GM. That's at least what we got from Mike Timlin. Want to have a little fun? Let's play some in or out. Let's do that next here on the Sports Hub.
What's it gonna be, McFly? Are you in or out?
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray.
So why he needs the money?
In the history of sports.
Like, did anybody see what the end of Oscar De La Hoya? So, like, not for nothing, but winning a world championship when you're 40, that means something. Coming back when you're 50, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
Money grab?
No, thank you.
Out.
All right, Joe, we'll head to the world of television for this one. You're a Yellowstone guy, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Yellowstone has confirmed a spin-off, Y Marshals, basically just Yellowstone Marshals, will feature Luke Grimes, known as Casey Dutton, in an upcoming CBS series. Joe Murray, are you in or out on the Casey Dutton spin-off show?
So, I got to tell you, that character, Luke Grimes, very good character. Casey?
Casey Dutton.
He kind of reminds me of Sawyer from Lost. You ever see Lost, Joe? Yeah, see, he gave me a point. They kind of remind me of each other. I think the Yellowstone... this is a spoiler alert for everybody. If you've never seen Yellowstone... Never mind. The show... You know what's funny? Just to bring this around. Do you know I didn't watch The Last of Us this week?
No, I think you and a lot of people, Joe, might have tapped out on The Last of Us.
I don't want to tap out. But something major happened. What's the point of going back?
I don't think you're alone in that sentiment.
I don't think it sucks by any means. Man, you know what it is? I got to give it a chance. Did you watch?
I watched. It was not great. But
So
they're building to something.
See, like, okay, spoiler alert, because nobody cares about Game of Thrones. When Ned Stark died, I was shocked. How are they going to continue this? Oh, they continued it, all right. It worked. But when Ned Stark went down, spoiler alert.
I don't think you need to attach spoiler alert to that, Joe. I think you're good.
Think we all know about Ned Stark?
I think time has passed.
And his head on a whatever stick.
Steak, yeah.
Yeah, steak. There you go. What about King Joffrey? Do I got to bring him up too? Spoiler alert or no?
Spoiler alert.
Anyways, I'm out on this one.
All right, Joe, we'll stick with the world of television for this one. You're going to have to bear with me for a second, as this one almost reads as a Mad Lib, but this is, in fact, real.
Okay, we got a
from Deadline, Brendan Fraser.
Yes, from Encino Man.
Sarah Michelle Gellar. Annie Murphy. Elizabeth Hurley. And Josh Gad will star in Breaking Bear, described as Yogi Bear meets The Sopranos. An animated series follows a family of bears who go full criminal to stop frackers, mobsters, and a wolf pack from destroying their home. Joe Murray, are you in or out on Breaking Bear, the animated TV show described as Yogi Bear meets The Sopranos? A lot to digest.
I got no time for that.
Maybe a little too much going on there.
What now? Where do I find it?
That I do not know. Maybe it's being shopped around looking for a suitor. It does not say where that's going to be homed.
They got really high and were like, "Hey, let's make this thing."
Which, I can kind of get behind.
I get behind it too. But
this is a true Mad Lib of a sentence.
You know what? How about this? Just release it, and then if wherever I can find it, maybe I'll watch it. Just like Detroiters. I gave it a shot.
Great show.
I only got through three episodes.
You gotta keep pushing.
I know. Sometimes you got to keep pushing, but maybe I'll go back to it. But Breaking Bear. Huh? So bears go criminal?
Basically, yes. It seems like they're breaking the law to
consigliere bear
protect their home. I would imagine.
Bear? Like Brendan Fraser? Is there a cocaine bear? Is there a bloater bear? Okay, what else we got?
All right, Joe.
I'm out, by the way.
Sticking with the world of television and TV, Ferris on Broderick and Ruck getting back together for a new comedy.
Is Ruck, pardon my French?
I believe he's the guy that wears the Red Wings jersey.
With the Red Wing? Okay.
Yeah.
He was in like a bunch of other stuff. He was in Speed. If you ever saw Speed, he was on the bus. You ever see that movie, Speed?
I've seen it. Good movie.
He was in that one too. Matthew Broderick married to who?
Sarah.
And the guy from Ferris Bueller's Day Off are doing a spinoff together. They must need the money. Out. Like Joey Tribbiani has a show now, right? The guy from Friends?
I'm unaware.
Out. If Elaine had a show, would you?
She did. Veep.
Oh, that was good.
One of the most
good.
popular.
Yeah, but it wasn't like her. Like, it wasn't like the Elaine show.
Yeah, it was Veep. Yeah, great show though.
That was good. Yeah, but HBO does everything great.
That is true.
I'm out.
All right, Joe.
Any food ones tonight? What we got for food?
All right, you want a food one, Joe?
Yeah.
From our friends at Pop Tarts, Joe.
Ooh.
Pop Tarts are getting into the ice cream game.
Yes.
Joe Murray, are you in or out on ice cream sandwich Pop Tarts? Strawberry, brown sugar, cinnamon, ice cream sandwich Pop Tarts. There's a picture in Slack if you need a reference point.
Please. Okay. Can we turn Street Team Joe's mic on for a second? Joe, you can't hear me right now. Or maybe you can. In or out on Pop-Tart ice cream?
I'm so in. I couldn't be more in. And the flavors Skaz just named, I'm in on all three of those.
But you can only have them cold.
I mean, yeah, it's ice cream, Joe.
But Pop-Tarts are made to be hot.
I think there's some Pop-Tarts that people put in the freezer. I think like the cookie ones or whatever I've heard people put in the freezer.
I've never had a frozen Pop-Tart.
I feel like I've heard that. I haven't done it myself, but I think that's out there.
So really, this is just an ice cream sandwich with the filling of a Pop-Tart and the outside of with that like glaze.
Yeah, coating or whatever it is.
I think I'm in on this. And now here's the deal. Could I take it out of the freezer, sear it on both sides to make it hot?
You're going to sear an ice cream sandwich?
Can I put it in the air fryer for
You ever had deep fried ice cream? Oh, is that a dumb question?
You know who's got incredible deep fried ice cream? Kowloon.
Silly me. Silly. I should have known. What don't they have at the Kowloon?
Nothing. They have everything. But deep fried ice cream, right? And then they'll give you a giant fortune cookie with ice cream in the middle of it with hot chocolate sauce on the top with whipped creams on the side. In. Oh, I'm telling you, for those that have never had it, you'll thank me later.
All right, Joe. This one we've been saving. I think this may have been the first thing you put in Slack either yesterday or today. I can't remember. But some big news in the reality TV world, Joe. We're getting a new Real Housewives, and we're getting it very close to home. Bravo this week has announced the Real Housewives of Rhode Island.
In!
Joe Murray, are you in or out on the Housewives of Rhode Island?
Are we getting our man? Is our man going to be the host of it? The guy who hosts all Andy
Andy
Cohen?
Cohen, yeah.
Are we getting Andy Cohen in Rhode Island?
I would imagine so.
Put in! I enjoy Real Housewives. Who's my favorite Real Housewife? Well, I have some unfavorites. Dorit is not my favorite. Tammy, not my favorite. I do like... Did you see the Jaws popcorn bucket?
Yes, I did see that.
People would laugh at me because I said I would like to eat popcorn out of a Darth Vader or Jaws helmet, and now they've made both.
I think there was a mission.
He doesn't have a wife. Maybe, no, I don't know. All right, let's go to break. Are we going to break right now? What are we doing? All right, we're going to break. Or the headline. I'm Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
Studios. The 18-time world champion Boston Celtics are looking for number 19.
Tatum pulling up. Good.
Hear every playoff game right here. Your home for Boston Celtics basketball. WBZ FM and HD1 Boston 98.5. The Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox 5-0 winners today. Begin a series with Kansas City coming up soon. Timberwolves all over the Warriors 33-17. And the Caps up 2-0 right now in the Hurricanes. Later on tonight, it's the Oilers in Vegas, Golden Knights. Headlines are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Joe Murray.
If you've got the app, you've got Toucher and Hardy to wake you up no matter where you are.
Or who may or may not have been to jail.
Get the app. The 98.5 The Sports Hub app.
All right, back here 98.5 The Sports Hub. Chris has been holding a while, so let's get to him. And thank you for the kind messages from people. They said that they really liked the Mike Timlin interview. So, listen, I'm just the guy talking to him. He actually had energy, and you could hear him get excited about talking about baseball. And I think we need more people in town like that. I think we had one here earlier tonight, Jared Carabas. You see him? He was here excited to talk baseball. It's what we need. Where's Milliken going, Skaz?
I believe Tyler Milliken is on his way to Las Vegas, from what I heard.
Oh, really? That's where the Oakland A's will be moving to, correct? Is he doing some baseball research out there, or is it?
All kinds of research happens in Vegas, Joe. I'm sure he'll be diving in.
How about a Vegas baseball team, huh? Looking forward to that. Do you think he'll go to a sports book?
I'd have to think so. I mean, that's what you do when you're out there, right?
I really do see him as Zach Galifianakis at like a poker table. Because he's into the stats, right?
He takes me as more of a maybe like a slot machine guy. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Because I mean, I can see Tyler like sitting down and be like, all right, so there's a king, and then there's an ace, and then there's a 3, and then there's a 4. So there's got to be a 10 coming, right? Like I feel like he could look at those numbers and try to. Anyways, Tyler, have fun in Vegas, bro. Chris is in Worcester. What's up, Chris?
Thank you, Joe, very, very much. I'll be brief. I mean, I'm driving home through the rain from Boston, coming home from work, and, late night, and just hearing that interview. I know you're getting a lot of platitudes. You deserve it. That was a great get. I love Mr. Timlin and everything he's done. I know he loved Tim Wakefield and Mrs. Wakefield. I mean, just great stories. And, it breaks my heart because he's a great guy, and he was the balls. The balls.
He was.
That's all I got, man. I loved him, and thank you for the interview.
Oh, well. Okay, well, thank you for the praise. No, Mike Timlin was the balls. Let's call it what it was. You heard the music he came out to. Guy would throw a big dip in his mouth and then flame throw. And then they'd go right to Folk in the 9th, and that was it. And then he did it again in 07. Papelbon. Think about that. That dude won 2 championships with Toronto and the Red Sox, which was unheard of in 1993. Oh, and they manifested the Joe Carter walk-off. Do you know what else he mentioned there? I'm sorry I'm late to this one. You hear what he said about the perspective of the Yankees in Game 7? Pressure.
They didn't even want to be on the field with us, he said.
That's what he said. Like a former champion saying that? I almost wanted to ask him about the Celtics. About that.
He doesn't take me for a big basketball guy.
I didn't go there.
He's got the Nuggets, though, out there. Maybe he's watching Jokic.
But I'm talking about pressure, though. Like, Skaz, when we come back on Monday, I want to replay that Porzingis quote. Like, if he has said that maybe this puts the pressure on them, have the Celtics been putting pressure on themselves? And do they... Clearly, when they play with pressure, they've struggled. Not last year, though. Got to keep note about that one. All right. We'll take a quick break. I'm Joe Murray here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe. You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
What member of the Sports Hub would I want to spend? You know, I'll tell you, Milliken's on my list. The Milla Missile in the Mecca. He's so young. He literally, like, whenever I love Milliken. I want him on our show. I know he helps the other shows, so I don't want to take him away. I don't think they want me to take him away anyways. But still, he is just this, like, young, inexperienced person that I want to just, like, I can show you the world.
You want to mold him.
Oh, my God, yes.
I mean, Hardy's got to be up there. He knows all the ins and outs, places to go, places to avoid.
You know how I can always have fun with this Beetle? The other thing with Beetle is, Beetle's like he doesn't care about, like, red tape. He's not a red tape guy. He's a respectable guy. But when it comes to red tape, I feel like he's got a guy, you know? I've already been me and Sarge at the poker table, let me tell you. Done that, Jay Stu. Jay Stu, not much of a Vegas guy. I feel like Maz would be fun. Oh, he'd be chirping at the tables.
I can see him playing some blackjack.
You know, I would like to go with Felger. Because it's like, we're not talking sports.
Well, he's paying for dinner, too.
Plus, could I get him to a... They don't call them dispensaries out there. They call them consumption lounges. Could I get him to a consumption lounge?
The dead's out there. You'd have to be able to get him to one.
The dead with the sphere?
Oh, yeah. I don't think that's a place you go without going to one of those, Joe.
Yeah, the morning show, we're going to have some good, clean fun. Beetle and Zoe and McCone, though? I know Big Jim would be down to go to some buffets, though. Big Jim probably knows some hidden gems, too. So I got to put him on that list. The Milla Missile, though. Oh. His eyes. Imagine his eyes with the bright lights. Be incredible. What do we have in the rundown here?
You had Perk on Jason Tatum, I believe.
Should we play that? Or should we just go to break?
Yeah, we could play it coming back.
All right, why don't we do that? Perk on Jason Tatum. I can only imagine why he wasn't invited on the parade boat. But we'll do that next here in the Sports Hub.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox 5-0 winners today. Rafael Devers, though, was asked to move to first base.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Jason Tatum has had just a brutal series so far. What are we seeing from the Celtics' biggest star?
Well, I mean, he's not stepping up. And look, playing with Paul Pierce, in my Celtic days, the one thing I will acknowledge about Paul Pierce was that he took pride in protecting his career, right? He took pride in individual matchups and not losing games on his home floor. I'm not seeing that from Jason Tatum right now. And it's all about the dog, right? Being the dog, being able to get to the free throw line. And I get it. He shot only 5 3-point shots last night. And you got to give a lot of credit to OG Anunoby. You got to give a lot of credit to Mikal Bridges. Hell, Jalen Brunson, that time, we see him sliding those puppies. And we saw at the end of the play, we saw Mitchell Robinson get down in the defensive stance. But at some point, Jason Tatum got to say, I'm the best player on the floor. I cannot be guarded. He's one of the most elite scorers in the game today, and I just don't see that tenacity. I don't see that dog in him. And I thought was going to be his moment after being disrespected all summer long, that he was going to be ready to protect not only his championship, but definitely protect his home court and his crib.
At some point, Jason Tatum's got to say, I'm the best player on the floor. I cannot be guarded. Tatum did have just 13 points in the loss the other night in Game 2. He is shooting 12 of 42 from the field, and in the series, he's 5 of 20 from 3. So he had a big dunk to put the Celtics ahead with 18 seconds left in Game 2. He also committed the game-ending turnover in the final seconds. Are there people out there who think maybe the perception locally here is different than the national perception? Meaning, Steve Kerr on the Olympics, the constant soft comments, not the face of the league, not a top 5 player, he's not the guy. Like, is there a non-Boston take on Jason Tatum's game? Like, I personally think Steve Kerr's... I don't think Steve Kerr's a great coach, but you know what? He manages the team. He does. Do I think he's like the X's and O's guy out there, Skaz? No. But just going back to the Olympics, there's still no reason, right? Like, Grant Hill basically is still dying on the sword saying that they just didn't have a spot for him. Is it because of the way that they look at him? So I'm not saying, was Steve Kerr right? But is there a perception of Jason Tatum nationally that we don't talk about locally here? Is there a narrative? Do we look at it through green-colored glasses? No doubt about it. He's been bad for 2 games. No doubt. But, Skaz, I'll ask you, sir. Yeah, I do want Jason Tatum to be better, but you know what? He's the most unselfish player in the league, and he's still a top 5 player in the league. It's just, on the final play, right? Perkins tried to compare it to Paul Pierce. In hindsight, Skaz, I wonder if Pierce and Garnett and Allen kind of were like, screw you, Doc, we got this. In hindsight, right? They probably did. Can you see Brown or Tatum doing that with Joe Mazzulla? I don't. I think they're too unselfish, and they got here because they were unselfish. Your thoughts, guys?
Yeah, I think the Mazzulla thing is kind of fascinating, and you wonder how much of it is Mazzulla and how much of it is, the analytics that they're preaching as an organization. Yeah, when it comes to Tatum, he's been awful. He's been really bad in these 2 games, especially in the fourth quarter. He's been really bad. And you mentioned that list earlier. He's still 4th in the playoffs in fourth quarter scoring, which is kind of wild considering how bad he's been. He has to be better. The team has to be better. Jaylen Brown has to be better. Derek White everyone on the team has to be better. Their play just hasn't been good enough. The coaching hasn't been good enough. And, this is kind of where the analytics, are a little, they don't give you the full story. Every 3-point shot, and I've heard, Felger mentioned this numerous times. Every 3-point shot is not the same. An open 3-point shot, at the 3-point line is not the same as one 2 or 3 feet behind, or with a guy a foot away from you when you're 28 feet, whatever it is. It's very different. So the analytics there, I do think, gets skewed, and I think you're kind of seeing that with how Orlando and the Knicks have defended the 3-point line. They're still getting their 3-pointers off, but they're not the same looks. You can tell me they're open looks and all that, but it's the areas and the situations in which they're getting them in, and the defenses, Tibbs and the Magic, Mosley. It's the way they've designed it is to force the Celtics into certain areas, and they're not, hitting the shots. So what do they do in Game 3 to change that? Do we see more of the same? Do we see more, high pick and rolls to try and get guys open? That, I think, is on Mazzulla, but I'm with you where I don't think you'll see them, abandon the game plan with 30 seconds to go.
Agree. But do I think at times there needs to be human instinct? The things you hear about Tatum are, I wish he was like Kobe, or he wants to be like Kobe. He doesn't have that mentality because his whole entire career, he's been on, from his first day at Duke, Skez, to today. He's one of the most unselfish players in basketball. And I respect him for that, and I applaud him for that. I actually think that's what makes him great. This is where I bring up Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown's the de facto leader, vocally. They need more out of him, too. Like, today I heard a lot of Jason Tatum bashing. Does the MVP award last year and, all that just kind of give Brown a pass? Not from here. Not me. No,
Yeah, I was told that this was Jaylen Brown's season. This is when he shines. He's the playoff riser. Shouldn't he be getting just as much criticism? I don't know. They all deserve criticism, in my opinion. They've all been bad. None of it is good enough. And now you head into Madison Square Garden, I think one of the more overrated venues in all of sports for big games, because all the big games in Madison Square Garden, the opponent team usually wins. They're not Knicks wins that happen in Madison Square Garden. The opponent usually gets up for those moments. So I'll be interested to see what kind of crowd is at Madison Square Garden when the get-in price is $750. If we'll have that diehard, Knicks crazy crowd. I'm into Saturday's, game of the year for the Celtics, game of the season on the line.
Just want to mention Jaylen Brown's missed every open three he's taken, 10. Al Horford's missed every wide open three he's taken, 8. I know people don't want to hear this, but if they make their shots, we're not having this conversation. Let's talk to Robert. He's in San Diego. Robert.
Well, I always call, and I really appreciate it. I think they need to go to the bench. I would get Walsh for rebounding. I'd use Nemus and some big guys. Davison, you signed them from Alabama, Baylor. I like these guys because they know how to get to the basket. We're getting to the basket. Just when you think they're going to lay it in, they keep shooting it out, kicking it out, and this is where it's killing us. I mean, if you don't play down in the paint with the Knicks and slow up the tempo, don't put you got just he gave these games away, and I don't bet. I bet with my heart, but I'm not mad at Tatum, but he should know better. You've been in these experiences before. You've been with it when you played Miami and then Golden State. My whole point is you can do this. You've got the bench, and you're letting these players rot on the bench. That's what you signed them for. My opinion on
Robert. Who do you take out to put Jordan Walsh in?
It's a good question. I mean, I don't want to be the wrong answer and everything else. I think Walsh is a damn good rebounder. That's where you got him from Arkansas. He's big. Okay. He's big.
Who do you take out to put J.D. Davison in?
Who can we take out? What would you suggest?
Well, I don't want to be rude here, but you're the one who suggested making the moves.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I just, I don't want to.
Are you trying to say that they should maybe use maybe instead of just sticking to 8 guys, they should maybe try to go further down the bench?
I would. You got the talent. You got the big guys. They're huge. They're the ones who are going to keep the New York from scoring down the paint.
Thanks, Robert. Skaz, anything from you?
Joe. I don't want to. It seems like a nice guy.
It's like
seems like a nice guy. But
what's Jordan Walsh's rebound percentage? Do we know?
Jordan Walsh with the Celtics averaged 1.3 rebounds per game. So you say
1.3.
Appreciate the call. If you're putting in Jordan Walsh and J.D. Davison, see you next year. I'll meet you opening night next year, because what are we doing?
I wasn't rude to the guy, was I?
No, I probably was, though.
It's okay. I just wanted. He said he wanted. Hey, he's in San Diego. Oh, we got ourselves a call here. Hang on. Let's see what this one says first. Scott. What's up, Scott?
Hey, how are you guys doing tonight?
How you doing?
Good. How about you? Oh, I'm sorry, I already asked you that. So we have a soccer game this weekend. We got Sporting Club de Portugal versus Benfica for the first place. I'm sorry, for the trophy for the league. This week was a great week for Champions League. Europa was today. I saw Inter Milan versus Barcelona. It was probably one of the best soccer games I've seen since
I watched that
Manchester City. Yeah, it was amazing. It was like a breath of fresh air. It was just like someone just breathed Febreze into my life.
Oh wow.
So this week was an amazing week. I listen to you guys all the time. Honestly, I do believe that Madison Square Garden is overrated because they can't win. You know, they can't even get to the conference finals ever. And I'm 32 years old, and the Knicks have sucked my whole life.
All right, who's the soccer bet? What do you got for this weekend?
I'm thinking over. It's hit or miss because these are like tough, physical games. So it's like a penalty can get swung, but I'm thinking over 2 goals because if my team wins, we win everything. And my grandfather was a big Sporting fan, and he died right before they won their first title in 20 years, right after COVID. So I'll be in tears either way because if we don't win, we can still win it next week.
Thanks, Scott. Sorry, I don't know who we is. I don't know who we is, but I feel you love your grandfather. So both teams a score or over? Maybe both, guys. What do you think?
Sure, why not, Joe? Why not?
We have some inside information regarding the Housewives of Rhode Island from one JP in North Providence. Hello, JP.
Joe Skaz, I heard you kind of put a request in for JP, and here I am. I would have called a little sooner, but I had to hit the Wendy's on Route 1 in Norwood.
I know exactly where it is. Did you get food or Frosty?
Oh, no. So I got the chicken BLT biggie bag, whoever invented those, great value. And I got a Frosty on the side. Fries are gone already, Joe. Here I am. I heard you put a call.
That's what they call the major bag alert.
Oh, big time. You love Route 1. Like the other night was Taco Bell, the box. I love things. Us Virgos love a meal that's already planned. Just tell me what to order.
You're a Virgo.
Done.
Got it. JP the Virgo.
So, Joe, you had some questions. I got a sports take, believe it or not. Yep, at the end of this.
Well, let's do the Housewives. What do you got?
All right, so I heard Housewives of Rhode Island. So you've got some different cultures and backgrounds. If they're from Newport, you might have some old world, uppity Karen, kind of stuffy, old world money. If you got Cranston, typically Italians, money. You know, they might live in Garden City, which is an exclusive area, going to flash the diamond. You know, it may not be the best cut and color, but it's big, little flashy. You might go down to Watch Hill. They might bring a little old school in there that knows Taylor Swift. So it all depends how you're going to steer the pot. Bring in some different cultures, not all just Italians. I think it could be fun. We got to stir it up a bit. We'll watch it, see what happens. Could be, maybe someone from Atwells Avenue, Federal Hill, got a little bit of tie there. Might have a little clout, be more like the Housewives of New Jersey, something like that. So we'll see what it's going to be. Joe, I need a favor. Staying over in Portland, Maine, tomorrow night, I need a diner breakfast place. Any of the callers can suggest something. Nice old school diner, good breakfast food.
for the morning. Any tips would be great. I'm not familiar with Portland.
I would go Becky's Diner. It's simple.
Done.
Pretty good. It's right on that little strip there. And Duck Fat is my favorite restaurant.
Duck Fat. We're going to an Irish pub tomorrow night, meeting friends. So I got to pretend I'm interested in an Irish pub and not drink Prosecco. I might have to go to the hot stuff. We'll see what happens. I got to take how we're going to win. And I'm old enough, and us guys our age will remember. I remember the Lakers didn't have a center, and they told 6'9" Magic Johnson to play center against Philly, and he ate them up alive. Put Tatum at center. He's rebounding like a beast, but he can't hit the side of a barn door. Put him in the post. Bring Horford and Porzingis off the bench. Try it. It'll stop chucking up threes. Keep him in the post. When he's in the post, he can rebound and score. What do we got to lose? And as far as Porzingis, bring him in the fourth quarter. We don't need him in the first three quarters. We need him at the end of the game when they're giving away the game, Joe. Okay. I need some odds for Saturday, Joe.
Take the Celtics to win the series. Whoa, a lot there. Porzingis in the fourth quarter, huh? Hey, Skaz, that's not crazy to me.
Well, like he's Mariano Rivera coming in to close it out, Joe?
He's the unicorn. If you're going to use him, you might as well use him when you need him, right? I think he'd get beat defensively. Or would he have more energy and be ahead? You know what? Right now, I'm that's a better idea than Jordan Walsh.
You weren't well, Joe. Yeah, I mean the bar's not very high there. Last night, I didn't even think you were going to let Porzingis go to New York.
I don't even know if we'll let it. That's right. Let's just roll. I know we're late, but let's roll some calls for a little bit here. Joe's in Medford. Joe.
Hello.
Joe.
Oh, hello.
Hey, wake up.
Hey, I got a take, but before that, I got 5 things you and me got in common. We can discuss that if you want in a second. But here first, I think Joe Mazzulla makes better adjustments in between games than during the game. And then I think the only team that can beat the Celtics is the Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
And did you know in the first game, game 1, New York's first basket was a Jaylen Brown tip, and Jaylen Brown tipped in the New York Knicks' first basket of the game on our own basket. What the fuck was...
Hey, dummy up, bro! Come on!
We should have known, Joe. That call was off to a bad start from the beginning.
Now I can't take the rest of these calls.
It seemed like you may have just woken up or, had a couple late night treats.
We're going to have to stretch the musings a little bit tonight. Is that okay?
That's fine with me, Joe.
Okay. We'll do that next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on 98.5 The Sports.
98.5, the Sports Hub.
You want a random take? Murray's got all sorts on stuff in the world unrelated to sports. So sit back, relax, and get your mind in the game and listen to the words of a grown man complaining.
All right, Murray. What do you think, Skaz? Pope or poop?
On this show, Joe, I always lean poop.
Let's go to the pooper.
P-O-P-E.
Stop. What's that spell?
I think I'm out on Popeyes, actually.
What?
I think that I would just rather have KFC or Chick-fil-A at that point, or Dave's Hot Chicken.
Oh,
so
Dave's.
it ranks 4th or 5th down the
Okay,
list.
so wow, I'm surprised that you are a man of a low tier when it comes to Popeyes. Pope, yes. All right, well, we'll get to the Pope in a minute here. Poop issue at a golf tournament recently, guys?
Oh, yes, I forgot about this. This was a couple days ago, right? Yes.
Yes, so I have it here now. Michael Kim, golfer, right? Claims, I almost said it. Golfer Michael Kim claims someone crapped their pants during the Heritage Open. But not all. They left it in a porta potty on the course.
I got you, Joe. I can step in here. Yeah, so Michael Kim, who, if you're a golf fan, you're very familiar with. He's had a great year. He's also fantastic on Twitter, very insightful. But Michael Kim returned to Twitter to post a story he called A Story from Hilton Head. According to Kim, an unnamed caddy ventured into one of the on-course portable toilets at Harbor Town Golf Links, the longtime Heritage host course located in Hilton Head. And once inside the porta potty, the caddy in question happened upon the aftermath of someone else's emergency. Never good when you're stumbling upon the aftermath of someone else's emergency. In the corner of the comfort station, he found a heavily soiled pair of boxer briefs, which Kim denoted with a fitting emoji on the app. There are player caddy only porta potties near tee boxes. One caddy went to use one on Thursday morning, and in the corner of the porta potty, he left a pair of boxer briefs.
All right. So again, caddy, golfer only porta potty.
Yeah, so tough to say it was a patron, a fan.
It makes me laugh because they're like supposed to be special porta potties. But why I'm laughing is I can't stop is, hey, listen, we've all pooped our pants.
We're all human, Joe.
We all poop our pants. It happens. But I've been thinking about this.
I mean, you got to throw it away, right? Never to be seen again.
But like, do you put it in like a plastic bag and then like
you can't just throw it in the trash.
Like what is the process?
Street Team Joe asks a good question here. It's location based, Joe. It depends on where you are.
This is where I'm going with it. You're on a golf course, right? Where else are you going to put it when you're on a golf course? Seriously, was he not supposed to put it in the porta potty? Was he supposed to leave it on the green? Was he supposed to put it in the woods? Go put it in the sandbox? What's he supposed to bring it to the 19th hole? Where is he supposed to put his crap?
This is a really good caddy too, because say it wasn't the caddy, he's got to take the blame for it anyways.
So was he going to get fined?
No. I wouldn't
What's
think
he
so.
supposed to do with his poop?
Well, Joe, Street Team Joe is with us tonight. And Street Team Joe is back here with me. And you asked, what happens in these situations. And Street Team Joe looks at me.
Oh, do we have an expert?
And Street Team Joe says, I have a system. So then I said, Street Team Joe, get in the studio.
Turn your microphone on, please, sir.
So, yes, Street Team Joe apparently has a system for situations like this.
I've had this happen to me a couple times in some bad situations.
Okay, then. We have an expert here, Joe Ariano, Street Team Joe.
Yeah. So
what to do when you poo?
So one time I was a little, we've all been there, a little too inebriated, and so some things happen, Joe. Long story short, you get to the point where your pants have been pooed. Now, at this point, your underwear and shorts or whatever you're wearing is completely ruined. Step one is you got to get out of this you got to get out of any situation you're in. If you're hanging at a friend's house, if you're at a bar, you're out. The night is over. Mm-hmm. Step two is you need to find a towel. That's your next. You need to find a towel.
What if there is no towel?
Then you are finding any article of clothing, anything that you can wrap around the bottom of your waist, because you need to ditch the pants.
Now, what happens if you have no pants to ditch into?
That's the thing that's why I said your night is over, because at this point, your objective is to just get home. So if you don't have a towel, you're buying an article of clothing. Mm-hmm. Maybe, or just walk home at that point. I think the main objective here is to ditch the pants and get whatever you can.
You know how if you're on fire, you stop, drop, and roll.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
You stop, say bye to your boys, and go home, and the night is over. You want to avoid all
Irish goodbye.
Irish goodbye. Yes, this is an emergency.
For a towel?
And you look for, if it's your boy's towel, that's that could come in clutch too. But you just need to get to a towel or borrow an article of clothing. But you can't be telling anyone this. This is Operation Get Out of There. Can't be seen.
Now, I'll be honest with you. I haven't pooped my pants in years. To be clear, I did have an accident once driving home. I might have talked about this one, Skaz. It was the Hershey Highway. Backed up, dude, for like 4 days.
What were you eating?
Couldn't poop. It was difficult. And so I took a stool softener.
While driving?
No. I took it like I was like, I got to get this out of me. So I took a poo softener, but it wasn't working. And the story is, I went to my friend Chris's house. We ordered food, and let's just say 4 bites in, I got the rumble in the jungle. Well, I didn't want to use the bathroom at his house because the bathroom was next to his mom's room, and I wanted to be respectful. Well, I only lived about 1.5 miles away, and I'm like, I think I can make it. So I got stuck at a red light for just over Beach Street. All I had to do was get down Beach Street right, and I was home. The light was really long at Beach Street.
You were stuck at the crosswalk.
And I was like, come on. And I'm like, talking myself up. Like, come on, Joe.
How old were you?
Come on, Joe. I had to be like 34. Okay?
Yeah.
So I'm like, come on, Joe. Like, come on.
You can do it.
Talking myself. Yeah. Come on. We've all been there, right?
You want to know a good trick.
Just real quick. So I'm on a hill, right? So I have to give it a little gas, because if you fall back.
Joe, you gave it the gas.
Give it a little gas. So all of a sudden the light turns green, and I'm like, right? But you have to go up the hill.
I'm sorry, Joe. Was that you or the car that was making that noise?
The car. Going down, because Beach Street's got a little uphill, and then it goes down. Once that thing tilted down, bro, it's the best sensation I had in a long time.
So, some things happen, Joe. Long story short, you get to the point where your pants have been pooed.
That's what happened.
But
I want to let you know that the release that I had that time, I wasn't upset that I crapped my pants. I was upset I crapped my pants in my car. But how do you get out of the... So like in my situation, right? I'm in the car, and I've already crapped. How do I get out of this messy situation? What would be your advice?
Well, I have to shout out my dad here, because he before you even get in that situation, he always tells me the best thing to do is when you have to go to the bathroom and it's not going to happen at that moment. Is he puts on play-by-play baseball, and if it's not on, he'll do it himself. Like, it'll be like, it's a 1-1 count here at Fenway Park, and Bellows on the mound. Here comes Wyatt Langford, low and outside. Bayo.
okay.
Low and outside. Count his own. Like, so he'll just like talk to himself.
So when he has to go
play-by-play baseball,
he'll start just like getting his mind off of it to feel comfortable.
Yeah, and he'll make up a game situation.
Okay, I mean, I had other situations of that we can talk off the air, but yes, I got that.
But,
so your dad taught you a trick? Is
Yeah.
what you're telling me?
Yeah, so
I've
have
already
that
crapped my pants. What am I doing?
I mean, at that point, you have what's in your trunk.
No, what's in my trunk?
Yeah, you don't have an emergency
I can go in
bags?
the house, bro. Why do I have to go to my trunk?
Well, I mean, in the trunk, you don't have an emergency stuff in your trunk?
Let me tell you what I did. I knew that when I stand up, like, you remember in when you played Little League Baseball, and it was like, when you're going to first and you feel a juicy burst, diarrhea. My pants were full of foam, bro. And I was trying to go home. What happened was I go, all right, well, I don't want to stand up the right way because I don't want it rolling down my leg. And that's exactly what happened.
You got a beeline for the
So what I
hose.
did was I went, all right, well, I'm S out of luck right now. I walked right into the house, walked right into the shower with sneaker on.
Wow.
Turned the bad boy on, took pants off, clothes off, washed myself, found a trash bag, put all my clothes in the trash bag, and put it in a barrel. I don't know who saw it, found it, but those pants were gone, the shirt was gone, the sneakers were gone. But that was my way out. Now, it was not cool.
Were any of these clothes nice? Or like
it was like,
nice shoes?
jeans and a shirt.
Okay. So you
it
could've-
wasn't like
you
I,
could-
crapped on like, $200 jeans or anything.
Yeah, or some nice Jordans. You didn't ruin anything.
No.
I would have went for the hose. Gone out back.
Yeah, but it's still in your pants.
But you're
rolling down your leg.
But you're limiting the in-house.
Yeah, but what if I just go in? There was no in-house contamination. There was no drippings.
So where was your girlfriend or wife?
No, nobody. It was me. I was by
just-
myself.
Okay.
You think I want to tell anybody this? I was 34. I was still a kid, I felt like. Was I working here? I was working here. Oh my God, I crapped my pants while working here. Not here, but I was working here. Anyways, I went right into the shower and threw it away. Case closed. But what is someone supposed to do?
No, I think you made the right call. The shower, you can't keep any of those clothes. They are forever unclean. And you just gotta throw those away. But whether the method of going to the shower or the hose, cleaning yourself off immediately, that's obviously step one. But yeah, you're not keeping those clothes, and you are just putting those outside in a trash can. And yeah, you pray you have a good trash guy who won't. Hate,
I don't know
who won't.
Do you
hate
think the
forever.
trash guys smelled worse, bro?
I don't know. A poop pair of pants.
I was thinking
Can't
about
get
this.
much worse than
I
that.
was talking to Skaz about this, but we all played. Did you play like Little League Baseball? Or
Yeah.
whatever? So like you'd be down at the park like all day, right? Like 8 a.m. to like 6 p.m. Like that's what you did, right? Well, we had kids who made accidents. The thing is, though, is that if they left that somewhere, we're grabbing the stick in the woods and we're throwing at it. So I don't recommend anybody doing this. Please listen to me. I'm not advocating for any of this. But this story reminded me of times when people had accidents and would like dispose of the poo underwear.
And you guys would throw it?
No, but then somehow it would make its way back into like our site. And I was thinking about if he's pissed that it was left in the porta potty, did someone take it out of the porta potty and like throw it into the course? Or was he just pissed it was in a porta potty? Because where else is he supposed to put it? He's supposed to bury it in the woods? Where's he supposed to put it? I'm serious.
You just got to leave it in the porta potty.
What's this guy supposed to do? I feel like leaving the poo in the porta potty was the right thing to do. What should he have called? What do you do? Hey, we got a cleanup on par 5, 18th hole over here.
You're too far gone at that point.
I thought you had a strategy. What was your strategy again?
My strategy is to just, if you're at a friend's house or your own house, in my car,
open the trunk. Number one thing, open the trunk.
Because in my trunk, I always have some useful things in there. Like I'll have a survival kit.
What is in your trunk right now?
I have a beach chair and a beach towel at all times. Because you never know when you want to go jump in the water.
So if you crapped your pants right now, you'd go out to your car and grab a beach towel.
And then I would throw out everything else and I would drive home.
You drive home in a towel?
Yes. Just drive home in a dry towel.
Yes, guys, you got all this?
I think that's your best option.
So you would be driving home the Pike to Route 9 in a towel.
And if I was pulled over...
And your skivvies in a towel.
Yeah, well, yeah.
No skivvies.
No skivvies. Yeah, it would just
be
your
skin and towel.
Skin and towel. It's just like you're driving home from the beach, except instead of sand, it's
I thought he had like a 5-point plan, guys. I don't know what's going on here.
I mean, he has the basis of a 5-point plan. Get a towel. Have a towel.
You know what's funny? If I think about my car right now, I do have a polo zip-down sweatshirt.
See?
I could wrap it around my waist.
Yeah, step
and
one.
And the rest of it would be on my buttocks.
Yeah.
I don't know what would be on the front of it, but
yeah,
my buttocks would be, and the seat would be clear.
Yeah. And so sometimes do you have a blanket in your car at all?
Imagine you in a towel getting pulled over.
Yeah, that would be.
What would you do,
I'd
sir?
have to come clean.
No, you do? Yeah, you come clean. Sir, I crapped my pants. Do I need to show you? Oh, is the evidence gone already? Would you throw it in the barrel?
Yeah, because the evidence.
Would you throw it in the barrel in the?
Well, no, I'd go in the parking lot and throw that.
That's what I'm saying. You would put it in the parking lot barrel.
What other option do I have?
It's the same thing with the golfer. Yeah. What other option did he have?
He didn't really.
Me. I did it, went right into the shower, and got rid of everything. Everybody else who left it, not cool. I think I'm the most responsible here.
True. But if someone was living with you at that time, then no.
No, I don't care. I'm washing it off in the shower and then disposing of it. And nobody would ever know I crapped my pants unless it was like, hey, what'd you do in the bathroom? Crap my pants. Just admit it.
So when you go through your house...
If you said you crapped your pants, right?
Yeah.
Who's going to give you crap?
Everyone.
No, but come on, who cares? Hey, man, I crap my pants.
No, my friends are awful. They will
but so what? We all crap.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else to add here? I was going to talk about the Pope, but I don't even know if we should do that now. So wait, the Pope is related to the actor who played Paulie Walnuts?
No, one of the, I believe, cardinals or whatever it is that picked the Pope was Paulie Walnut, Tony Siracu's brother. That was the time.
Tony Siraco's brother
is a cardinal, I believe.
Who's a cardinal?
Who was one of the
odd.
Part of the conclave.
Because originally in The Sopranos, his mom was a nun or a mother, whatever you call them, sister. Sorry. You ever watch Sopranos?
I have watched Sopranos. I'm Italian. Got to watch Sopranos.
You know who Paulie Walnuts is?
Yeah.
The boss tells you to be Santa Claus. Santa Claus.
Top show of all time for you?
Top 5.
Skaz?
Breaking Bad's up there.
Yeah, it's probably not in my top 5, but it's a very good show.
All right, well, birthdays today. How about we lead off with my mom? May 8th.
Happy birthday to Mrs. Murray.
Happy birthday.
Couple of family birthdays this week.
That's right. You had your brother's birthday, right?
Yes.
So shout out to Mama Murray. Happy birthday to her. 69. Nice. Very nice. Happy birthday to friend of the show, Dom Botticelli from Dom's.
Shout out Dom.
Dom Sausages? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's his birthday today.
I got Joe. It is David Attenborough's 99th birthday today. The narrator does all the Planet Earth stuff.
Oh, that guy.
Yes, his brother was the Santa Claus. Speaking of Santa Claus, is in the Miracle on 34th Street, I believe.
Do you think he could have a 5-point plan of how to get rid of poop?
99 years old, you gotta have a plan if you for pooping your pants. That's got to be like a daily occurrence.
Skaz, I didn't think my plan was that bad, was it?
Look, Joe, I'm not going to criticize your plan. I worry about a man that has a plan for crapping his pants. That's what I worry about.
You ever see Half-Baked when they need to smoke, but they don't know what to smoke, and the guy's like, "Get me a snorkel and some what? Yeah, okay, Joe, I crap my pants. What do? What's in your trunk?"
Exactly.
That could be like your bit. That could be like a bit.
Yeah, what's
in your trunk?
I already have like a survival pack in my trunk. Like I have food in there. I have a towel.
Can we do a social video of your trunk?
Yeah, we can.
All right, next time you're in.
Yeah. We'll get I'm scared to see what's in there right now, but I'll
just
you can't change what's in there. I don't want you opening that trunk until it's been investigated.
What's in your trunk? If we say what's in Joe's trunk, they might think it's me, so it might get more people there too.
Yeah.
But it would be your trunk. You got that? We're gonna write that one down. That might be a more of a summer day, okay?
Yeah.
We might when we can stretch it out a little bit more. And then I want to see what you get for a poop, escape. Melissa Gilbert, 61. Enrique Iglesias, 50 years old today. Stephen Amell's 44. Domhnall Gleeson, 42. Hello. Olivia Culpo, 33 years old today. We manifested that one.
It is also the late, great Don Rickles' birthday today. One of the best.
I think that's all we got. So, we can continue the poop talk if you'd like. We still have the Celtics down to 2-0. Rafael Devers doesn't want to move the first. Or we could just continue the poop talk. It's up to everybody else. Street Team Joe, thank you for your great analysis.
You're welcome.
We'll go to break. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5.
cannot do it by yourself. There's 8 other guys out there. So you have to be able to play for your teammates and play for your team and make it a better team if you move to first base, or if he stays at third base and they move Bregman to second, and, I don't know, however it all comes out. But that's the mindset that I think this team needs to adopt. And a lot of other teams need to adopt that also. People got to stop playing for themselves, and they got to start playing for each other.
We were talking about the identity of the team the other day. Is that what might be going on?
I mean, I think he nailed almost all of it in that one answer.
And to be fair, he's not around the team. He's in Colorado, just watching from afar. And I set it up as, what would it be? I didn't want to. He brought up the Devers thing. I just tried to compare it how he could relate to it. So basically, like, when you use the word heart, I think he nailed it. You're right. Man, this Devers thing is getting wild. And just to update you, if you didn't hear, Christopher Smith had this earlier today. He was all over it. Mass Live is all over it. Just going to pull it up for you real quick. So Rafael Devers said that Craig Breslow came to talk to him about first base after the Casas injury. Devers said it's not the right time after they told him they didn't want him to that they wanted him to just DH. He thinks they should just hit the market for a first baseman. Incredible. I almost didn't believe it when I read it. There's more to this. He wasn't pleased with the Red Sox for asking him to play first base. He said he doesn't feel the Red Sox stayed true to their word after they told him they wanted him to be a DH. To all of a sudden have me try to play another position. So from my end, it doesn't seem like a good decision. He said they had the conversation with him. I didn't think, me personally, it's the best decision after they asked me to play a different position. And I only have 2 months of playing this position. So right now, I just feel like it's not an appropriate decision by them to ask me to play another decision. I know I'm a ball player, but at the same time, they can't expect me to play every single position out there. In spring training, they talked to me and basically told me to put away my glove, that I wasn't going to play another position but DH. It was the GM that I spoke with. I'm not sure what he has with me. He played ball, and I would like to think he knows that changing positions like that isn't easy. Now I think they should do their job essentially and hit the market and look for another player to play first base. I'm not sure why they want me to be in between the way they have me now. Does he think there's a chance he could change his mind about playing first base? No. I don't think so, they told me. I'm a little hard-headed. They already asked me to change once, and this time, I don't think I can be as flexible. Asked if he was upset that the Red Sox asked him to consider first base. Yeah. I don't think they stayed true to their word. They told me I was going to be playing this position DH, and now they're going back on that. So, yeah. I don't think they stayed true to their word. Next thing you know, someone in the outfield gets hurt and they want me to play in the outfield. I think I know the kind of player I am, and yeah, that's just where I stand. Asked if his relationship is okay with the Red Sox. Here in the clubhouse, thankfully, the relationship that I have with my teammates is great. I don't understand some of the decisions that the GM makes. Holy smokes. They're stuck with this guy's guess. In a way, I think they created this problem. But I'll tell you this much, though. I'm not a professional athlete. I never claimed to be, okay? But, like, if the coach says go play short, you go play short. Like, you're just up for an opportunity, right? The reason why I think this is smelly, I wonder if Cora stands by him. And this is Maz's take. This isn't my take. Maz's been around baseball for a long time. I'm curious of how I think Cora feels the same way. I think Cora feels the same way. Anything else to add here? This is wild, man.
Yeah, I think this is a really bad look for Rafael Devers. I get his frustration. He's been asked to move, twice, but he wouldn't stop bitching because he wanted to play in the field and wanted to play third base. Then they tell him he's the DH. He pouts. He goes home. He whines about it. Then he comes and he plays DH, struggles out of the gate, finally starts to turn it around a little bit. And now his team, the team that employs him, the team that he is a part of, wants him to play first base, and he says no, and he's going to pout and bitch about that now too. He gets paid $300 million a year. He's not bigger than the Boston Red Sox. Play first base. You're going to bitch about not playing in the field. Now you have an opportunity to do it, and you're not going to do it. I think he comes off as a whiny, a loser, not a good teammate. Everything you want to say, I think, can come out of this clip. He never wanted to be the DH. They told him he was going to be the DH. He pouted and went home. Then he said, okay, fine, I'll play ball if that's what's best for the team. And he did it, and now he's being asked to do what's best for the team again, and he's whining and bitching again. I think it's a very bad look for Rafael Devers.
Bad look, but here's the deal. You need the guy. You can't trade him. You get 50 cents on the dollar. I'll say this going in the break. I don't even know if we have a break. Should we? We got one more? All right, I'll break real quick, but I'll tell you this much. The reason why the Red Sox are struggling is they have zero leadership, and it starts with Rafael Devers. We'll wrap this thing up on the other side, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the
find it right there. That GM comment, though, Skaz, that one's the one I'm going to lean on. Forget anything else he said. Go do your job. Be the GM. Paraphrasing, of course. I wonder if there's a lot of respect in there for Craig Breslow. And I think Cora is sticking. It sounds like Cora's sticking with his guy, his player. We got to keep our eyes on that one, everybody. We will keep our eyes on that one. All right, that's it for tonight, everybody. We're back here tomorrow. Full show. It's a Friday night tomorrow? Friday, wow. Wait, what's this weekend? Mother's Day this weekend. All right. I forget the days. I take a nap sometimes, and I feel like... Street Team Joe, I can't wait to look inside your trunk someday. Skaz, thank you. Excellent job. Thanks to Mike Timlin. Please support him and his wife as they support their friend, Tim Wakefield, Stacey Wakefield. PMC.com, Team 9. Donate to them.